Welcome back to the show. You know how much we love the theater on this show. Well, there's so many fantastic festivals that happen here in Ottawa, and one of them is the Undercurrents Festival. It's coming February 8th to the 18th to Arts Court. A lot of great opportunities to see some really unique productions that you probably won't see anywhere else. And my next guest is going to tell you about some of them. I am joined by Sanita Fejzic. She's the creator of Why Worry About Their Futures. Welcome, Sanita. Great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about the festival, sort of an overview. As I said, it is really unique, and it is a great opportunity to go and see some plays you probably otherwise would never see. How would you describe Undercurrents?
Undercurrents is a local festival that's part of Ottawa Fringe. And what's exciting about it this year is that we have a new artistic director coming to us from Toronto, but actually Alan Richer is a Franco-Ontarien. So the festival this year, for the first time in its history, is bilingual. We've got an array of French and English theater productions that are actually coming from all over. We have some local shows, but we also have shows from Montreal, from Toronto, from St. John's. So it is kind of exciting.
Yeah, and very diverse. So what sort of themes do we see within this festival?
One of the themes that we've noticed, and that my show is actually part of, is that there's been quite a few triptychs. So we've got, instead of long features, we've got a series of short plays that are coupled together. And a triptych is 3 short plays. The one that I'm producing is called Why Worry About the Future? Why Worry About Their Future, pardon me. And it is also a triptych. It's a collection of 3 short plays that are coming together to sort of shake up the audience.
Okay, and how are you going to shake up the audience? What are some of the themes within that?
We've got, the show is opening with Keith Barker's The Sky It Falls.
Okay.
Lawrence Aronovich's The Auden Test, and my own Expecting, and they're framed under this theme called, as I said, Why Worry About Their Futures? What we're trying to talk about is the kinds of presents and pasts that we've inherited or that we're cultivating that are compromising our children's futures, that are compromising multi-species futures, and even potentially threatening the very survival of our species. So it is pretty heavy, but we're trying to cross that sense of anxiety with hope, that sense of dread with beauty.
And it's interesting too, so why worry about their futures? There's no question mark there. Right?
That was very intentional.
Yeah, intentional in the manner of it's really a statement more than anything, am I right?
That's right. Yeah, initially, actually, when I proposed this show to Undercurrents, it is a curated festival, so it was selected. I did have the question mark. You know, why should we worry about our futures? And I realized the obvious, which is that we are worried about our children's futures. We know that we live during a climate crisis, during an ecological collapse in different areas of the planet, in system strains, and, you know, in socially complex times. So we are already worried, and these plays are moments in time. They're not, you know, long narratives. It's not a single show that's going to give you a denouement. These are shocks, they're provocations, and we're going to show you why we are worried from different angles.
Well, let's go in depth a little bit and expand on each of them. The Sky It Falls, how would you describe that?
The Sky It Falls contends with industrial farming practices as a metaphor for genocide. And I won't say anything more because I want you to come out and see the show. Right.
Okay, and the next one is a short play by Lawrence, The Auden Test. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
You are pronouncing that correctly. And this is the historical piece in a way that has resonances to this day and that questions the future. From the point of view of W.H. Auden, who was a British poet that moved to the United States just as World War II was starting in Europe. And he's having a kind of during his midlife, it's a fictional sort of, I would say, spiritual breakdown, or a moment where you contend with your consciousness because he's reflecting on a friend who stayed behind, helped defeat the Nazis, and then was essentially harmed by the British government for being a homosexual. I'm sure you've heard the story of Alan Turing. He took a poison, which was kind of the equivalent of a chemical castration, and then eventually committed suicide. So Auden is contending with this loss. He obviously, you know, was not affected in that way, but the death of his friend is affecting him, and it's kind of resurging. He might have repressed it, but it's coming back up.
You mentioned your play is called Expecting. Tell me about Expecting and how it fits sort of under this umbrella that we've been discussing.
symbolically, we close the show with, well, I can't give it away, but we'll say that they're expecting a child.
Okay.
And they're expecting a child in the midst of a climate catastrophe. So we see as one of the parents becomes progressively bigger with, a belly that's carrying the future of our species, we see, toxic dumps in lakes. We see electricity loss due to hurricanes. We see, all of these intensifying warning signs of what's to come. And so what is it that we're expecting? On the one hand, we are expecting a baby, but we're also expecting a really compromised future for that child.
Is there a mixed media involved in this, in these productions at all? Just because of your last description, right? With the climate catastrophe,
That's right.
that just popped into my head.
We have an extraordinary director, Joël Bedos, who is aesthetically going to create a kind of coherence between these shows, and he will be working with a cellist, Valérie Despax, and a sound designer, Claude Schreier. But we're not necessarily going to have, hyper technological sound designs, but we're going to have very aesthetically stunning sound accompaniment, as well as costume designs by Vanessa Emerson. And I think the whole team coming together to create one world, but from three entirely different perspectives and historical moments, is just kind of edgy. It's going to be really provocative, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what Joël does.
Just a few seconds left here. I just want you to mention there's an opening night reception, right?
That's right.
That is pretty special that you're excited about.
Our show opens February 8th at 7 p.m. and then you can listen to us talk a little bit about the show, and then join us for drinks and refreshments and some snacks, and actually mingle and have a conversation about what you just saw.
Well, and I think it's great because are all of you that have created this show, you're all going to be available to chat with, so it's just a great opportunity for people to talk and just go a little bit more in depth. Sanita, really appreciate you joining us today. Thanks so much. I'll remind everybody at home, Undercurrents Festival, it's at the Arts Court, February 8th until the 18th. You can find out more information at undercurrentsfestival.ca. There's something for everyone, really. Go check out the schedule. There's great descriptions of all the productions. We'll be back with more right after this. Don't go anywhere.